Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone see my screen and hear me? Okay, thank you, Don. Thank you, Brad. Let's begin. This is the SPX cash and E-mini S&P chart review. I'm going to be going through Garrett's counts today with Avi gone. Garrett's leading the room, and we'll take a look at what he has posted in his nightly update. So first, let's just start off with Avi's update from the weekend here. And this is the hourly chart. And let's take a look what we have off of the March lows. So we're tracking two different potential counts here now, where in the green count, we have a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3 into the June high, a wave 4 into the mid-June pullback, and then wave 5 up into the early September high. And the low struck last week should just be an A wave of this parentheses Roman numeral 2 here. And so we should currently be in the B wave in this count. Alternatively, we completed 5 up as a leading diagonal into the June high off the March low. That's shown in orange here, where we have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. Although we didn't get overlap between wave 4 and wave 1, and additionally, the subwave structure of waves 1, 3, and 5 is not clearly 3 waves nor 5. We're relying on this as 5 waves as a diagonal based on the Fibonacci extensions. So just to illustrate that, if I measure wave 1 here and then extend it up from the wave 2 low, you can see here in these blue fibs that the third wave in this instance got up above the 1.0 extension and between the top between the 1.0 and the 1.236 extension, which is a more standard extension for all of a wave 3 in a diagonal, where it's a more standard extension for 3 of 3 in a standard impulse as shown here in the green count. And then this wave 4 pullback occurred as a flat, whether it be wave 4 of 3 in the green count or all of wave 4 in the orange count. And then we got the fifth wave up to the top just beneath the 1.764 extension, which is a little bit extended for a diagonal, but given how shallow this wave 4 was, that would be just fine. And so for the orange count, off of the early June high, we got a very quick wave 2 pullback, and then we have 5 waves up, which is counted out in green here, but it would be just the same for the orange count. And rather than that completing wave 5 of wave 1, as shown in the green, that would be wave 1 of wave Roman numeral 3 in the orange. And now this pullback into last week's low would have completed all of 2. In order to continue to favor that, we're going to need to see another 5-wave rally off of last week's low back up to the highs here in shown in orange, whereas in the green count we'd expect a corrective rally probably to look something like this. I'll change the colors here and the degree. We should expect something like this to get a B wave, and then should see lower in a C wave down to a more standard retracement for the wave 2. So really, the next week or two should really determine what we're getting here in terms of if we're going to have this green count play out and get the lower low, the much deeper low in wave 2 here and then that would give us the indication that this just completed the wave 1 off of the March low versus whether we head more directly up here to complete another 5-wave move off of last week's low, which would then very much put us into the orange count as per Avi's chart. So let's take a look at the micro count here that Garrett has posted at the end of the day today. So Garrett posted in blue and red. I'm actually going to change these to align with the colors that Avi has. Just bear with me quickly here. Let's see, this would be green. Okay, this would be green as well. Okay, so let's take a look what we have. Off of the September high, whether this is wave 5 of wave 1 in green or all of wave 1 of 3 in orange. We should change the degree on that. Avi and Garrett are counting these. Avi doesn't count the degrees precisely, so but I'm going to post these up as if they were Avi's chart, not to add to any confusion. But what do we get? We got an A wave down into the September 8th low, and then we got a circle B wave flat here into the mid-September high, and then we got an ending diagonal C wave into last week's low. And off of that low so far, we only have 3 waves up. And so based on that, I would prefer that we're just getting the A wave up here, which would align better with the green count. To rely on this being 5 up here, we would need to call this actually the low here, which would be a truncated low. And I don't believe let's take a look here. I don't believe we got that in the SPX. Let's see. Yeah, off of the low in the SPX, we only have 3 waves up here. So on either chart, so really in either chart here, I only have 3 waves up, and I would personally prefer to see a pullback in a wave 4 that holds. Yeah, if we can get a pullback that holds the 32.95 to 33.15 region, that would look good for a micro third. Well, we have no indication of a top yet here, even in a micro third wave, but here's how this would count on the micro off of the low. First off, this is the low here. And we could count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We need another high here. Yeah, so if we can hold the support here in the 32.95 region and get another high, that would look very good as a 5 up. That would start to give us a better indication of the orange count here. But if we fail here, even though this is a very extended C of this A wave, probably look like this. We call it an A, B, and C up. Even if we get a little bit higher here, if price fails to hold 32.95, and especially if then price breaks down below 32.78, that's going to favor then that we're in a B wave here. That's going to favor that we're in a B wave. And at that point, we'd be looking for support for the B wave from, let's see, 32.73 down to, I would say in this region here, we should find support for a B. And then we would head up in a C wave of B. And then from there, we would expect to head down in the C wave. So really from where we're at right now, I think holding this region here, what did I mention? yeah, holding the 32.95 level is pretty important as a possible microwave 4 support, and then one more high would give us 5 up off of last week's low. I'm not in love with that count. The initial move here on smaller time frames for this possible wave 1 looks better as 3 waves, but I'm not going to argue with it if this does hold support and give us one more high for a 5th, and then starts to pull back correctively. That's going to favor more so the orange count, but ultimately the strong favoring of the orange count will occur with first getting this 5 up and then pulling back correctively, and then getting a larger degree 5 up back up to the all-time high for another wave 1, and then after a corrective consolidation in the subsequent wave 2, price should really take off to the upside at that point, like shown. We would have the 1, 2, and then we should head up in the wave 3, at least up to the 4,000 region, but 4,000 to 4,200 at that point would be the target for wave 3 of 3. So that's what we have, for the SPX and for the E-mini S&P. Let's take a look and see what questions we have. Mike says, any reason why this can't be a 1-2-1-2? No, Mike, it could be a 1-2-1-2. My issue with that is if you're going to call this, here, so I'll show that in a different color here. If you're going to call this a 1-2, let's change the degree of that to that and put it in pink. If you're going to call this a 1-2-1-2, it really does not fit nicely here, in the sense that this wave, this smaller degree 1-2 is really huge compared to towards the larger degree 1-2 off the lows. So it's pretty difficult to call this a 1-2-1-2 off of the off of last week's low at the micro level. At the bigger degree, the orange count is a 1-2-1-2 count. So look here. The orange count is exactly that. So it's a 1-2 with the wave 1 into the early June high off of the March low. The wave 2 pull back in June. Then wave 1 of 3 into the early September high, and wave 2 of 3 having completed at last week's low. And now we need another 1-2 to take us upwards in wave 3 of this degree, wave 3 of wave Roman numeral 3. So that's totally possible here, and that's what the yellow count or orange count is tracking. RTY suggests that we are in a probable wave 5. Doesn't that make other indices such as SPX and NQ in a probable B wave? I don't believe I have that count on the RTY tech, but I need to take a look at my charts. I haven't updated that today, and it's a little bit outside of the scope of this video, as we're just covering the SPX charts here, just the S&P 500 charts. I will say that the NASDAQ to me makes the best argument for only 3 up having completed off of the March low into the September high, and that last week's low potentially completed a wave 4, and that now we're headed up in a wave 5. Garrett posted that in the room towards the end of the day. Let's see, Doman asks, how can I get sound? Doman, it must be on your end. I think everybody else is getting sound here, but the video will be recorded and posted into the room later, so you can catch up with it then. Let's see, Bill asks, how do you calculate upside targets for 3 or for A? So Bill, the way we calculate targets with the Fibonacci pinball methodology is like so. Let's say we're getting the green count, and that we've topped in wave 1, and then we're going to get a B wave to here, and then a C wave down to the 0.500 retrace. What we do is we measure the wave 1, So we measure the length of the green count here, all of the wave 1, and then we project that upwards from, let's assume that, the wave 2 low bottom's right here at the 0.500 retrace. And then we know that our wave 3 in that instance should top between the first standard Fibonacci pinball should come up to the 1.382 to 1.618 level. So that would be 48.20 to 51.51. If you have questions about that, I highly recommend you check out the slideshow that Garrett prepared that's posted in the beginner materials on both pages. And for some reason you can't find those, please message me or post on the board, and I will repost those so that you have access to those. But those beginner materials will walk you through exactly how we target different wave degrees and how we give you a step-by-step process for doing the pinball or Fibonacci pinball methodology. Mike says, can we get a 1-2-1-2 down? Oh, Mike, you were the one who was asking about whether or not we're going to see a lower low here if we've topped in some sort of a B wave and then are going to get this alt 4. It's possible to count it that way. I can count it like so, or let's see here. Here, I'll open up a new chart to show an example of that. I believe I've gone through this before, Mike, but if I'll go through it again here. Okay. So first off, in order to consider that we're going to get a lower low here, we wouldn't even be looking for here, I'm going to go to this actually. Okay, if we're looking for a lower low below the March low, the only way I can get to that is the following, to say that we topped in 2018 in a third wave, and now we have a where is it here? An expanding triangle. Okay, so this is the only way I can get to the wave 4, the bigger degree wave 4 not having completed at the March lows. And it would look like this. This would be off of the 2018 high. We have an A, B, and C for the A wave. We have an unclear wave structure. Really forget about counting the subwaves of this. This would be an expanding triangle right here, which quite frankly, I've never seen an expanding triangle at this large of a degree. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but if this is the case, I'm not going to expect a 1-2-1-2 down for the E wave. The E wave can be a corrective move. It doesn't need to be an impulsive move. So even in that instance here, if you're looking for a 5-wave move down to start this E wave here, I don't think the market necessarily needs that. In terms of evaluating that potential, I can potentially call this a 5-wave down here. This is pretty clear, unclear 1-2, but it would probably look like that. Wave 3 and wave 4 and wave 5. And I would probably call this an ABC flat for a wave 2. Okay, so how would this look here? And then this would be wave one, two. Okay, so if we have a 1 2 1 2 down, what we're looking for is this. First off, okay, so we have a couple here. So let's see. Okay, so as I already mentioned, at the larger degree here, if we zoom out to the SPX, oh, okay, so at the larger degree here on the SPX, in order to favor that, we're going to head down in an E wave. I'm looking for a corrective move, not a 1 2 1 2. So I have no count that favors a 1 2 1 2 down for price to head down impulsively. So in terms of context, while we can throw these labels on here and that it does work according to the smaller time frame, it really does not make any sense at the larger time frame. But if we do get a 1-2-1-2 down, it would count for a 5-wave move to here to 2900, and even still, it just doesn't make any sense in terms of context. Additionally, price has already come up above the 618 retracement of this wave 1 of 3, which makes this even less likely at this point. It's technically valid so long as this high here, the September 16th high, is holding, but I really don't see any validity to this potential 1-2-1-2 down because it just doesn't make any sense in the larger context. Because again, even if we topped here and we're still in the wave 4 off of the 2019 highs, we would be looking for a corrective move down in that E wave here. I'm not looking for an impulsive move down. And even if we get one, even if we get this move all the way down here to 2900, let's go back to the SPX. Even if we get this move down here to 2900, it's really going to much more so look like just a more direct wave 2 here, as 2900 is right in the retrace support zone for the wave 1 off of the March lows. And so given that I can count 5 up in the March lows, whether in the green count or a 1-2-1-2 in the orange count, I really see no way where I should be looking for a 1-2-1-2 down here. Okay, next question. Harry Dunn has much more down than green circle B as one of his counts. Do you have any such counts? No, I don't. Vinay, at this point, the counts that Avi is tracking for the SPX is either the green count here, where we're going to get an A, B, C. We may see a lower B. I don't have a specific target in mind for the B wave. And then we get a C wave up to complete this B, and then get another C wave down to complete all of 2. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, could make an argument for a wave 4 having completed here. I don't see, I personally, in any of my charts, I'm not seeing a setup, for directly lower low like the 1-2-1-2 count or anything, extremely bearish here from an Elliott wave perspective. Keep in mind, Harry Dunn, he does incredible work, and a lot of his work is an amalgamation of Elliott wave and more traditional technical analysis. So he might be seeing something else there, but I haven't seen. I'm not familiar exactly with the chart that you're talking about, Vinay, but I don't see anything, extremely bearish at this time on the S&P. Tom asks, where did Garrett post the NASDAQ chart? Tom, if you're in the EWT room, he posted it in the main service at some point this afternoon. I believe he posted, I think it was an NDX chart. It may have not have been the NASDAQ futures. It may have been the cash market, which is the NDX. Let's see. Julio, can we ask questions as it pertains to SPY? You can. It's going to be identical to the SPX or the E-mini S&P as it's the same instrument. It's just the ETF version. Let's see. Julio says, if so, could today's action on the SPY be a 53535 LD? Let's look at this. So if I zoom into the micro time frame here, looking at this off of last week's low, I'm really favoring the green count here because, as you can see, this is a clear 3 waves up here into this high. I don't even know how to make that as I suppose if I were to call that a leading diagonal for this wave 1, it would be wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5 with a very muted wave 3rd. That technically works, but really counts better as 3 waves. As I mentioned before, if we do get a pullback in wave 4 and then get another high in a wave 5, I think that would be a better interpretation. But for now, we have 3 waves up into Friday's high, and then a 3-wave pullback, and then this probably looks like a 1, 2. I'll count it out. So it'd be 1, 2, 3. Well, let's do it at this degree. Let's see, this is going to be orange, and this is going to be micro degree. This could be something like this. We have a possible 1, 2, 1, 2. The subwaves are rather unclear here. I suppose this is an interpretation you could have that off of the low on the 25th, we got a 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a 3rd wave, and then got a 4th wave pullback, and now we're getting an ending diagonal 5th wave of 3, and then we should get another 4, 5 here. Alternatively, could possibly count this like so. In either scenario here, I really can't get 5 waves up off of last week's low. So even if it's a leading diagonal off of today's low, in the context off of the Thursday after, when was this? Thursday morning? Yeah, the Thursday morning low, I still only have 3 waves up here. So I really do not prefer the orange count as of yet. However, if we do get a corrective pullback that holds the 32.95 region and then gives us a 5th wave up here, then the orange count would look much better. Until then, it's okay to count this, I would say, as an ABC up, albeit with a very extended C wave of A. And below 32.80, 32.75 region really favors that, we're lower in a B wave as per this count here. Okay. Where did Garrett post the NASDAQ? I have stock waves via Seeking Alpha, so not seeing any post there. Yeah, Holt, Garrett posted that in the EWT room. So if you want to look at that chart, I recommend you make a request for it in the Stockwave Seeking Alpha room. Um, Let's see. Okay, Ernest asks, just a suggestion, no reason to cover during the webinar. I spend much time guesstimating converting Avi's degrees to Garrett's and Zach's, which is quite valuable to me. I recommend not using Avi's labeling in the beginners webinars, so also converting to Garrett's. Yeah, guys, so, you know, Garrett, normally I cover Avi's labeling, even though he doesn't follow a very standard procedure for it, because we're covering his charts for the evening updates. While when Avi's out on days like today, for the holiday, we have a little bit of confusion added as we're trying to reconcile Garrett's labeling and Avi's labeling. But overall, the charts are the same. The question is, this is the key thing here to note, which is, we either completed wave 2 here and in the orange count, and we need a 5-wave move up back to the highs, or we're in a corrective ABC up. And I get it, Ernest. I know it's a little ambiguous here, but if similarly when we try to adhere to the standard degrees and I'm not matching what's on Avi's charts, then it adds a lot of confusion that way as well. So, okay, let's see. Julio says counting the micro is quite the challenge. Indeed, it is, guys. When we're in a potentially corrective pattern here, the micro degree can get very difficult overall. Counting especially if we're in the green count here, counting where the subwaves will land inside of the larger correction, counting where the A wave of the B wave is going to land can be quite ambiguous and can be quite variable. So there's no sort of high likelihood way of doing this here. The key thing that we'd be looking for is if we can get a 5-wave move up like shown in orange, where we get a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5. Then we have 5 waves up off a possible completed correction, albeit at a smaller degree here, but that should potentially bring some clarity into the micro count to align it with the bigger degree counts here, as that 5-wave move would fill out wave 1 of this wave 1 here. Okay, Matt asks, excuse me, pardon me. How do you interpret the MACD today and in whips? How do you interpret the MACD today and in whipsaw periods like this, given preference for the green count? It seems like the MACD whips around a lot, so maybe need to see it to go positive for a number of days. I think it really depends on what time frame you're counting, Matt. I mean, if you're looking at the SPX here, we had very positive divergence on this low here. We had 2 lower lows and 2 higher lows in the MACD. Again, so I think the MACD is a very secondary indicator, rather to next to what we're doing in Elliott wave. I don't see anything in this MACD which would preclude either the green count or give us indication of the orange count. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination in using MACD, but I would say that what we did see here, where we have this low and this low. I'll show the divergence here. We got lower lows in price and higher lows in, stay out of the way, higher lows in the MACD. That tends to indicate a weakening of the decline, but it really doesn't give us any indication yet as to whether or not, I don't think it gives us any strong indication as to whether we're seeing the orange count or the green count play out here. And even if we look at it on the smaller time frame here, I really don't think this tells us very much here. I actually, interesting to note this now, Look at the strength of the technicals here into this move on Thursday's high here. And now, if we're completing a potential C wave up here, look how weak the technicals are. Perhaps on the E-mini S&P, this is showing maybe a little bit more favoritism for the green count here, because when you see a corrective pattern, you typically will see the A wave is stronger technically. And even though, as far as price is concerned, we have a huge C wave here relative in terms of how far extended it is beyond what you would expect after an A wave and a B wave pullback. Note how weak it is on the technicals here. Could be indicating a pullback here, but again, the bigger issue here is whether price is able to hold a potential wave 4 support and then give us a fifth higher. But yeah, now that you mention it, this MACD here, given that the A wave high came up to this level, and then the potential 3 of 3 barely exceeded that. And if this is all of the C wave here, we are much lower on the technicals here than we were for the A wave up. That probably gives a small edge to the green count over the orange count. So, good question, Matt. I think that's that is an interesting look there in the MACD. That if this were a wave 3 off of the lows, we would expect larger technicals than we had at this level here. So. Julio asks, is the negative divergence what you just pointed out? Yeah, exactly. So look here, from this high, okay, we have from the A wave to the C wave, or from the wave 1 to the wave 3. Clearly we have higher prices, but look at the technicals, here. When we see a wave 3, typically its technicals are going to be stronger than the wave 1. And in this count here, notice how weak the technicals are in this potential completion of the third wave relative to the completion of the A wave. And so based on that, I would say that the posture of the technicals here is more supportive of the green count here on an immediate basis, where we are just topping in an A wave here rather than topping in wave 3 of wave 1 off of this lows, because these are very weak technicals. Let's see. Vinay asks, does Circle B look like a swift wave completing this week? Guys, you ask me regularly about timing, and I will repeat myself, but recognize that Elliott wave primarily is price-based analysis for trending price. I don't see it as terribly I don't see it as strongly predictive of timing expectations here, and so I really have no idea how long this potential B wave would take. It's possible it takes shape as a triangle. It's possible that it takes shape as a flat. So I don't know if it's going to be a direct move lower, or if it's going to be, realistically, it could be something like this, where we get an A down, a B up, and then a C lower, something like this. You're asking about in particular in this scenario, you're asking about a B wave. You're asking about a B wave within a B wave of a wave 2. I mean, it's really unpredictable with regards to timing or subwave structure. I can put something like this on the chart here, where we get an A, B, C, like so, for an A wave down, and then get a B wave up, and then a C wave. I really have no idea how long this is going to take. And I think if you're trying to trade this with options here, this is one of the worst setups I could think of to trade with options, because you're looking at trading a B wave within a B wave within a wave 2. If you're tracking the green count as primary here, and so it really doesn't strongly favor any particular timing or looking at this, looking at this for an options trade here. It's really not a clean setup whatsoever. Okay, that appears to be all the questions for today. So I appreciate everybody for attending, and I will be back on Thursday to do the same video then. And Avi and Zach and Mike, I believe, should be back tomorrow. I will be off the board for a good portion of the day, though. Unfortunately, I have to go back to the dentist one more time for some more work. But anyhow, good luck in your trading for the rest of the week, everybody. Thank you.